Chapter 4. Animal Kingdom.
When you look around, you will observe different animals with different structures and forms. As over 1 million species of animals have been described till now, the need for classification becomes all the more important. The classification also helps in assigning a systematic position to newly described species. 4.1 Basis of classification. In spite of differences in structure and form of different animals, there are fundamental features common to various individuals in relation to the arrangement of cells, body symmetry, nature of coelom, patterns of digestive, circulatory or reproductive systems. These features are used as the basis of animal classification and some of them are discussed here. 4.1.1 Levels of organization. Though all members of Animalia are multicellular, all of them do not exhibit the same pattern of organization of cells. For example, in sponges, the cells are arranged as loose cell aggregates, i.e., they exhibit cellular level of organization. Some division of labor occur among the cells. In coelentrates, the arrangement of cells is more complex. Here the cells performing the same function are arranged into tissues, hence is called tissue level of organization. A still higher level of organization, i.e., organ level, is exhibited by members of platyhelminthes and other higher phyla where tissues are grouped together to form organs, each specialized for a particular function. In animals like annelids, arthropods, mollusks, echinoderms and chordates, organs have associated to form functional systems, each system concerned with a specific physiological function. This pattern is called organ system level of organization. Organ systems in different groups of animals exhibit various patterns of complexities. For example, the digestive system in platyhelminthes has only a single opening to the outside of the body that serves as both mouth and anus, and is hence called incomplete. A complete digestive system has 2 openings, mouth and anus. Similarly, the circulatory system may be of 2 types. Open type, in which the blood is pumped out of the heart and the cells and tissues are directly bathed in it, and closed type, in which the blood is circulated through a series of vessels of varying diameters. 4.1.2 Symmetry. Animals can be categorized on the basis of their symmetry. Sponges are mostly asymmetrical, i.e., any plane that passes through the center does not divide them into equal halves. When any plane passing through the central axis of the body divides the organism into 2 identical halves, it is called radial symmetry. Coelentrates, ctenophores and echinoderms have this kind of body plan. Animals like annelids, arthropods, etc., where the body can be divided into identical left and right halves in only one plane, exhibit bilateral symmetry. 4.1.3 Diploblastic and triploblastic organization. Animals in which the cells are arranged in 2 embryonic layers, an external ectoderm and an internal endoderm, are called diploblastic animals. For example, coelentrates. An undifferentiated layer, mesoglea, is present in between the ectoderm and the endoderm. Those animals in which the developing embryo has a 3rd germinal layer, mesoderm, in between the ectoderm and endoderm, are called triploblastic animals. 4.1.4 Coelom. Presence or absence of a cavity between the body wall and the gut wall is very important in classification. The body cavity, which is lined by mesoderm, is called coelom. Animals possessing coelom are called coelomates, for example, annelids, mollusks, arthropods, echinoderms, hemichordates and chordates. In some animals, the body cavity is not lined by mesoderm. Instead, the mesoderm is present as scattered pouches in between the ectoderm and endoderm. Such a body cavity is called pseudocoelom and the animals possessing them are called pseudocoelomates, for example, askelminthes. The animals in which the body cavity is absent are called acoelomates, for example, platyhelminthes. 4.1.5 Segmentation. Figure 4.3 Diagrammatic sectional view of coelomate, pseudocoelomate, acoelomate. In some animals, the body is externally and internally divided into segments with a serial repetition of at least some organs. For example, in earthworm, the body shows this pattern called metameric segmentation and the phenomenon is known as metamerism. 4.1.6 Notochord. Notochord is a mesodermally derived rod-like structure formed on the dorsal side during embryonic development in some animals. Animals with notochord are called chordates, and those animals which do not form this structure are called non-chordates, for example, porifera to echinoderms. 4.2 Classification of animals. The broad classification of Animalia based on common fundamental features as mentioned in the preceding sections is given in Figure 4.4. Echinodermata exhibits radial or bilateral symmetry depending on the stage. The important characteristic features of the different phyla are described. 4.2.1 Phylum, Porifera. Members of this phylum are commonly known as sponges. They are generally marine and mostly asymmetrical animals. These are primitive multicellular animals and have cellular level of organization. Sponges have a water transport or canal system. Water enters through minute pores in the body wall into a central cavity, spongocele, from where it goes out through the osculum. This pathway of water transport is helpful in food gathering, respiratory exchange and removal of waste. Choanocytes or collar cells line the spongocele and the canals. Digestion is intracellular. The body is supported by a skeleton made up of spicules or spongin fibers. Sexes are not separate, i.e., eggs and sperms are produced by the same individual. Sponges reproduce asexually by fragmentation and sexually by formation of gametes. Fertilization is internal and development is indirect, having a larval stage which is morphologically distinct from the adult. Examples: Sicon, Spongilla and Euspongia. 4.2.2 Phylum, Coelenterata. They are aquatic, mostly marine, sessile or free-swimming, radially symmetrical animals. The name cnidaria is derived from the cnidoblasts or cnidocytes present on the tentacles and the body. Cnidoblasts are used for anchorage, defense and for the capture of prey. Cnidarians exhibit tissue level of organization and are diploblastic. They have a central gastrovascular cavity with a single opening, mouth on hypostome. Digestion is extracellular and intracellular. Some of the cnidarians, for example, corals, have a skeleton composed of calcium carbonate. Cnidarians exhibit two basic body forms called polyp and medusa. The former is a sessile cylindrical form like hydra, adamsia, etc., whereas the latter is umbrella-shaped and free-swimming like Aurelia or jellyfish. Those cnidarians which exist in both forms exhibit alternation of generation, i.e., polyps produce medusae asexually and medusae form the polyps sexually. Examples: Physalia, Adamsia, Painatula, Gorgonia and Meandrina. 4.2.3 Phylum, Ctenophora. Ctenophores, commonly known as sea walnuts or comb jellies, are exclusively marine, radially symmetrical, diploblastic organisms with tissue level of organization. The body bears 8 external rows of ciliated comb plates, which help in locomotion. Digestion is both extracellular and intracellular. Bioluminescence is well marked in ctenophores. Sexes are not separate. Reproduction takes place only by sexual means. Fertilization is external with indirect development. Examples: Pleurobrachia and Ctenoplana. 4.2.4 Phylum, Platyhelminthes. They have dorso-ventrally flattened body, hence are called flatworms. These are mostly endoparasites found in animals including human beings. Flatworms are bilaterally symmetrical, triploblastic and acoelomate animals with organ level of organization. Hooks and suckers are present in the parasitic forms. Some of them absorb nutrients from the host directly through their body surface. Specialized cells called flame cells help in osmoregulation and excretion. Sexes are not separate. Fertilization is internal and development is through many larval stages. Some members like Planaria possess high regeneration capacity. Examples: Taenia, Fasciola. 4.2.5 Phylum, Aschelminthes. The body of the Aschelminthes is circular in cross-section, hence, the name roundworms. They may be free-living, aquatic and terrestrial or parasitic in plants and animals. Roundworms have organ system level of body organization. They are bilaterally symmetrical, triploblastic and pseudocoelomate animals. Alimentary canal is complete with a well-developed muscular pharynx. An excretory tube removes body wastes from the body cavity through the excretory pore. Sexes are separate, i.e., males and females are distinct. Often females are longer than males. Fertilization is internal and development may be direct or indirect. Examples: Ascaris, Wucheria, Ancylostoma. 4.2.6 Phylum, Annelida. They may be aquatic or terrestrial, free-living, and sometimes parasitic. They exhibit organ system level of body organization and bilateral symmetry. They are triploblastic, metamerically segmented and coelomate animals. Their body surface is distinctly marked out into segments or metameres and, hence, the phylum name Annelida. They possess longitudinal and circular muscles which help in locomotion. Aquatic annelids like Nereus possess lateral appendages, parapodia, which help in swimming. A closed circulatory system is present. Nephridia help in osmoregulation and excretion. Neural system consists of paired ganglia, ganglion, connected by lateral nerves to a double ventral nerve cord. Nereus, an aquatic form, is dioecious, but earthworms and leeches are monoecious. Reproduction is sexual. Examples: Nereus, Phaeratoma, and Heroinaria. 4.2.7 Phylum, Anthropoda. This is the largest phylum of Animalia which includes insects. Over 2/3 of all named species on Earth are arthropods. They have organ system level of organization. They are bilaterally symmetrical, triploblastic, segmented and coelomate animals. The body of arthropods is covered by chitinous exoskeleton. The body consists of head, thorax and abdomen. They have jointed appendages. Respiratory organs are gills, book lungs or tracheal system. Circulatory system is of open type. Sensory organs like antennae, eyes, statocysts or balancing organs are present. Excretion takes place through Malpighian tubules. They are mostly dioecious. Fertilization is usually internal. They are mostly oviparous. Development may be direct or indirect. Examples: economically important insects, Apis, Bombyx, Laxifer, Vectors, Anopheles, Culex, and Aedes. Gregarious pest, Locusta. Living fossil, Limulus. 4.2.8 Phylum, Mollusca. This is the second largest animal phylum. Mollusks are terrestrial or aquatic having an organ system level of organization. They are bilaterally symmetrical, triploblastic and coelomate animals. Body is covered by a calcareous shell and is unsegmented with a distinct head, muscular foot and visceral hump. A soft and spongy layer of skin forms a mantle over the visceral hump. The space between the hump and the mantle is called the mantle cavity, in which feather-like gills are present. They have respiratory and excretory functions. The anterior head region has sensory tentacles. The mouth contains a file-like rasping organ for feeding, called radula. They are usually dioecious and oviparous with indirect development. Examples: Pila, Pinctada, Sepia, Lolico, Octopus, Oplesia, Dentalium and Chaetoplura. 4.2.9 Phylum, Echinodermata. These animals have an endoskeleton of calcareous ossicles and, hence, the name Echinodermata. All are marine with organ system level of organization. The adult echinoderms are radially symmetrical but larvae are bilaterally symmetrical. They are triploblastic and coelomate animals. Digestive system is complete with mouth on the lower side and anus on the upper side. The most distinctive feature of echinoderms is the presence of water vascular system which helps in locomotion, capture and transport of food and respiration. An excretory system is absent. Sexes are separate. Reproduction is sexual. Fertilization is usually external. Development is indirect with free-swimming larvae. Examples: Asterias, Echinus, Antedon, Cucamaria and Naphirar. The 4th of February 2010 Phylum, Hemichordata. Hemichordata was earlier considered as a subphylum under phylum Chordata, but now it is placed as a separate phylum under non-Chordata. Hemichordates have a rudimentary structure in the collar region called stomochord, a structure similar to notochord. This phylum consists of a small group of worm-like marine animals with organ system level of organization. They are bilaterally symmetrical, triploblastic and coelomate animals. The body is cylindrical and is composed of an anterior proboscis, a collar and a long trunk. Circulatory system is of open type. Respiration takes place through gills. Excretory organ is proboscis gland. Sexes are separate. Fertilization is external. Development is indirect. Examples: Balanoglossus and Saccoglossus. The 4th of February 2011. Phylum Chordata. Animals belonging to phylum Chordata are fundamentally characterized by the presence of a notochord, a dorsal, hollow nerve cord and paired pharyngeal gill slits. These are bilaterally symmetrical, triploblastic, coelomate with organ system level of organization. They possess a postanal tail and a closed circulatory system. Table 4.1 presents a comparison of salient features of chordates and non-chordates, hollow nerve cord and paired pharyngeal gill slits. These are bilaterally symmetrical, triploblastic, coelomate with organ system level of organization. They possess a postanal tail and a closed circulatory system. Table 4.1 presents a comparison of salient features of chordates and non-chordates. 4.2.11.1 Class Cyclostomata. All living members of the class Cyclostomata are ectoparasites on some fishes. They have an elongated body bearing 6 to 15 pairs of gill slits for respiration. Cyclostomes have a sucking and circular mouth without jaws. Figure 4.18. Their body is devoid of scales and paired fins. Cranium and vertebral column are cartilaginous. Circulation is of closed type. Cyclostomes are marine but migrate for spawning to fresh water. After spawning, within a few days, they die. Their larvae, after metamorphosis, return to the ocean. Examples: Petromyzo and Myxine. 4.2.11.2 Class Chondrichthyes. They are marine animals with streamlined body and have cartilaginous endoskeleton. Mouth is located ventrally. Notochord is persistent throughout life. Gill slits are separate and without operculum. The skin is tough, containing minute placoid scales. Teeth are modified placoid scales which are backwardly directed. Their jaws are very powerful. These animals are predaceous. Due to the absence of air bladder, they have to swim constantly to avoid sinking. Heart is two-chambered. Some of them have electric organs and some possess poison sting. They are cold-blooded animals, i.e., they lack the capacity to regulate their body temperature. Sexes are separate. In males, pelvic fins bear claspers. They have internal fertilization and many of them are viviparous. Examples: Scoliodon, Pristis, Curcarodon, Trigon. 4.2.11.3 Class Osteichthyes. It includes both marine and freshwater fishes with bony endoskeleton. Their body is streamlined. Mouth is mostly terminal. They have 4 pairs of gills which are covered by an operculum on each side. Skin is covered with cycloid ctonoid scales. Air bladder is present which regulates buoyancy. Heart is two-chambered. They are cold-blooded animals. Sexes are separate. Fertilization is usually external. They are mostly oviparous and development is direct. Examples: marine, Exocetus, hippocampus; freshwater, labeo, Catla, clarias, aquarium, beta, pterophyllum. 4.2.11.4 Class Amphibia. As the name indicates, amphibians can live in aquatic as well as terrestrial habitats. Most of them have 2 pairs of limbs. Body is divisible into head and trunk. Tail may be present in some. The amphibian skin is moist. The eyes have eyelids. A tympanum represents the ear. Alimentary canal, urinary and reproductive tracts open into a common chamber called cloaca which opens to the exterior. Respiration is by gills, lungs and through skin. The heart is 3-chambered. These are cold-blooded animals. Sexes are separate. Fertilization is external. They are oviparous and development is indirect. Examples: Bufo, Ranar, Hyla, Salmondra, Ichthyophis. Class Reptilia. The class name refers to their creeping or crawling mode of locomotion. They are mostly terrestrial animals and their body is covered by dry and cornified skin, epidermal scales or scutes. Figure 4.22. They do not have external ear openings. Tympanum represents ear. Limbs, when present, are 2 pairs. Heart is usually 3-chambered, but 4-chambered in crocodiles. Reptiles are poikilotherms. Snakes and lizards shed their scales as skin cast. Sexes are separate. Fertilization is internal. They are oviparous and development is direct. Examples: Chelone, testudo, chameleon, calotes, crocodilus, alligator, hemidactylus, poisonous snakes, naja, bangaros, vipera. 4.2.11.6 Class Aves. The characteristic features of aves are the presence of feathers, and most of them can fly except flightless birds. They possess beak. The forelimbs are modified into wings. The hind limbs generally have scales and are modified for walking, swimming or clasping the tree branches. Skin is dry without glands except the oil gland at the base of the tail. Endoskeleton is fully ossified and the long bones are hollow with their cavities. The digestive tract of birds has additional chambers. The crop and gizzard. Heart is completely four-chambered. They are warm-blooded animals, i.e., they are able to maintain a constant body temperature. Respiration is by lungs. Air sacs connected to lungs supplement respiration. Sexes are separate. Fertilization is internal. They are oviparous and development is direct. Examples: Corvus, Columba, Citicula, Struthio, Pavo, Aptenidites, Neophron. 4.2.11.7 Class Mammalia. They are found in a variety of habitats: polar ice caps, deserts, mountains, forests, grasslands and dark caves. Some of them have adapted to fly or live in water. The most unique mammalian characteristic is the presence of milk-producing glands by which the young ones are nourished. They have two pairs of limbs, adapted for walking, running, climbing, burrowing, swimming or flying. The skin of mammals is unique in possessing hair. External ears or pinnae are present. Different types of teeth are present in the jaw. Heart is four-chambered. They are homoiothermous. Respiration is by lungs. Sexes are separate and fertilization is internal. They are viviparous with few exceptions and development is direct. Examples: oviparous ornithorhynchus, viviparous, macropus, pteropus, camelus, macaca, rattus, canis, felis, elephas, equus, delphinus, balanoptera, panthera tigris, panthera leo.